Okay, so this isn't a knock on the show, but this is kind of more so like an observation. I just so happened to notice that this series takes place in the 1940s, and I just got one question. What 1940s is this supposed to be? Because Jim Gordon is black, not that I'm complaining. Jim Gordon is black, Barbara is black, and one of the cops is a lesbian, has a relationship with Harley Quinn going on. Just trying to, figure it out. What version of 1940s is this? Because this clearly ain't the 1940s that I was taught about in school. But hey, look, I'm all about progress. All right, that's cool. If this is some multiverse little 1940s situation going on, awesome. I mean, Jim Gordon got treated like shit regardless, so maybe it was the 1940s. But I was just surprised. At first I was like, oh my God, Jim Gordon's black, Barbara's black. All right, we got some representation going on in here. And then I read it was in the one episode synopsis said this takes place in the 1940s. I'm like, what 1940s is this? But look, like I said, it's just my little observation. Regardless, the series is pretty damn good though. So let's get to talking about it. This is Batman Caped Crusader. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and look, this is my review for Batman Caped Crusader, starring a lot of voice actors who I am not about to sit here and go over all their names, but I will shout some of them out based off their performances. Look, this is basically just going to be a spoiler-free review and just giving my general thoughts on Batman Caped Crusader, the new Amazon Prime series, which, look, as far as I'm concerned, is getting little to no just anything. Like, no noise is coming. Nobody's talking about this show whatsoever. I don't know if nobody knows it's out, but it is. Now, I will say this. It probably is due to poor marketing because I don't see a lot of commercials for this show whatsoever, and I'm not necessarily sure if they were just trying to, just push this out and just not really let a lot of people know that it's there, but it's not a bad show whatsoever. It's actually a pretty good Batman entry. Look, this series takes place, like I said, in the 1940s, but regardless of that, it takes place with a very young Batman. Now, I'll say that as far as like he's just starting out his career, he's still essentially a rumor to a lot of Gotham. They are not aware that the Batman is actually real, and that's where I think this show has its coolest moments, because I really like the beginning moments where Batman is just kind of a myth. He's kind of a rumor, and a lot of people are like, man, ain't no Batman coming out. And then that just makes for the coolest moments when they actually see that the Batman is real, the shock on their face, and then the villains get beat up. It's really cool, and a lot of those moments are in this show here. Beyond that, this show has a lot of good Batman moments. I mean, a lot of good Batman moments, especially in the ending of this season. It wraps up perfectly. I really hope they do make a season 2 because it was entertaining enough. And I'll say this about the series. So it's told in an episodic format, meaning that essentially all the episodes aren't necessarily connected and intertwined story-wise, but they do sort of connect later on with Harvey Dent's storyline. But essentially each episode presents a different story, different villain, different kind of situation going on, with there being an overall story kind of sort of, but it's told kind of the way Batman the Animated Series was, where essentially they would just show a bunch of episodes, and then by the end of it, maybe it will refer to something that happened earlier or that's been happening pretty consistently throughout the season. But for me, I really enjoyed the Batman Animated Series vibes that this show had. No, it is not as good as Batman the Animated Series. That Batman the Animated Series, I can't get my words together. Batman the Animated Series is one of the greatest cartoons of all time, not greatest superhero cartoons of all time. It is one of those, but it's one of the greatest cartoons. No questions asked, no arguments. Done deal. It's one of the best cartoons ever made. But this kind of takes off of this. The Caped Crusader kind of takes away from those vibes a little bit, and it also takes some things from maybe like the WB Kids version of the Batman, if you guys remember that one. Yeah, kind of like a mixture of those, and it makes for this very fun, very different telling of Batman. And I say it's different because what they really do different than any other, I'll say, Batman series entry or Batman show, whatever, anthology series, however you want to put this, what they do differently from all those other ones are they really portray the villains in a different light. And like I said, a lot of the other characters too. You got Jim Gordon, And normally Bullock isn't necessarily a crooked cop. In the animated series, I'm pretty sure Bullock was like one of the most loyal cops they had. But in this one, Bullock and I don't know what his partner's name was. Bullock and Flass. Flass? It was Flass? That was his name? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Bullock and Flass. Yeah. And here they are one of the most crooked cops in Gotham, and literally starting out in this series, everyone's crooked. The only true good people in Gotham are probably Jim, Harvey, and Barbara, and Harvey's in quotations. But literally everyone in Gotham's already crooked. They got Rupert Thorne running things, and it's some damn good Batman TV, man. I'm telling you. And so, as far as what I liked about the series itself, like I said, there's some great Batman moments. Honestly, there's some great Bruce Wayne moments in there as well. The guy who plays Bruce Wayne in Batman, Hamish Linklater, he actually did a very good job on the voice of Bruce Wayne in Batman. And there are some, like I said, I really enjoyed the fact that they started out with a very young Batman. And I keep saying that, but essentially you know what I mean. He's just very young in his career as Batman. And the reason I enjoyed them taking that part of the story and starting there is because they really do some interesting things with Bruce Wayne as well. Like, Bruce Wayne is hell-bent on only focusing on being Batman, and he really does not like his life as Bruce Wayne. Like that switch that necessarily flips when he has to be out in public and interact socially and be with people. They really do a good job of highlighting, like, he'd rather be fighting crime and being Batman. Like, he really does not care about this social aspect of his life. And they really even go a little bit further and have Bruce Wayne be in therapy and with Harley Quinn, and that made for some really good content as well. Now, the only thing I truly did not like about this series was the way they portrayed some of the villains. I thought the way they portrayed some of the villains, while, like I said, was different and out of the box, it was just some choices that were made that I personally was not a fan of. Like, let's just get this out of the way. Please, as much as I love Christina Ricci, who did a really good job as Selena Kyle, please, let's never give Catwoman a cape again. I don't know who greenlit that decision, but Catwoman better never have a cape on in her life.
No capes.
No capes. No. We got to pull an Edna mode on that one there. No capes whatsoever. Look, other than that, there were some other villains as well I wasn't the biggest fan of. I was not a fan of how they did Harley Quinn. Was not a fan of how they did Harley Quinn, only because I understand Margot Robbie has really given us... Margot Robbie and I should say... shoot, why can't I think of her name? The girl from The Big Bang Theory, the one that plays Penny. Why can't I think of her name? Look, now this is going to kill me. Alright, now I'm sorry I have to segue and look up who plays Harley Quinn in the animated series. Kaylee Cuoco. Cuoco? Yeah, Kaylee Cuoco. I understand that Margot Robbie and Kaylee Cuoco have done this whole Harley stand on her own type thing. She doesn't need the Joker. She's her own woman, blah, blah, blah. But the way that they do Harley in this show made me feel like, I feel like she's missing the Joker. I feel like if anybody needs the Joker, I think this version of Harley needed it. And it was played by Jamie Chung, who didn't do a bad job, but I just did not like the way that Harley was portrayed in this one. I thought they just skipped they didn't really give a reason of why she was already Harley Quinn. Like, she was just the therapist and just doing Joker shit at night. Like, what made her that? They didn't really ever go into what made these villains want to do a lot of the things they were doing, except for Catwoman. The other thing I thought was pretty stupid, they wanted to call Firefly, he was hell-bent on being called Firebug. Sure, whatever. The one villain that grew on me, though, was the way that they did Harvey Dent, because Diedrich Bader, who does the voice of Harvey, I was not buying that at first. I was really not liking Harvey at all, and I was like, yeah, this is probably going to end up with him being Two-Face. But then by the time you really get to that part of when he segues from Harvey into Two-Face, I really started to like his Diedrich Bader's voice portrayal more, and I really liked what they did with the Harvey character. And I loved the back and forth of how Harvey... of course, it's Two-Face, so there's literally two sides to him, but I loved how he really, slowly was diving into that maniacal, crazy side of his face. Like, he was like, yo, I really need you people to get away from me, because this guy, I can't hold him back much longer. It was really cool what they were doing with Harvey's character. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of some of the villain portrayals, which... is what makes Batman the Animated Series one of the greatest cartoons of all time. Just what they did with a lot of the villains in that show, even like Calendar Man, even the minor villains, Man Bat, people like that. Yeah, Batman the Animated Series really did all those villains justice. I didn't think that was the case here, but as far as giving us good Batman content and a very fun show, giving us those throwback Batman the Animated Series vibes, I thought they did a really good job of capturing that. Now, the only complaints that I have seen about this show itself are mainly dealing with the animation. And like I said, I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this show, but for some reason I have seen people criticize the animation, saying it's not as good as X-Men 97 nor My Adventures with Superman, which in X-Men 97's point, they do have a case, because X-Men 97's animation literally looks like the same cartoon, just enhanced in 2024, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. But this one doesn't necessarily have that sort of animation style, but it never bothers me, because like I said, it's just kind of a mixture of Batman the Animated Series, the new updated version of the Batman animated series when Robin and Batgirl all came into that, the New Adventures of Batman, or whatever they call that, and the WB Batman. They kind of just combined all those elements and just made a very fun Batman series that I think if you are a fan of Batman, you should definitely check it out. I am curious to see what they're going to do with Joker, however, because his voice was hella deep. I was not a fan of what they were doing with that. But look, overall, guys, Batman Caped Crusader is a very good Batman entry. It's a lot of fun. It's a show where I don't think it'll necessarily like triumph a lot of the previous Batman stuff that we've gotten, but it's a good entry, and I think it's definitely worth you checking out. It's got great voice actors. Oh, a villain that I did actually like was Minnie Driver's Penguin. Yes, they have a female penguin in the show. I think she's in the first episode, and she does great. I loved what they did with the penguin. Minnie Driver did amazing with that. Also, shout out to Crystal Joy Brown as Barbara Gordon, Jason Watkins as Alfred Pennyworth. I loved what they did with Alfred in this series, and especially how Bruce and Alfred's relationship starts to change. In the beginning of the series, minor spoiler, he's calling him Pennyworth the entire time, and their relationship grows to a point where he begins to call him Alfred. I love that. They really do a lot of good character development and growth with not only Batman but Bruce Wayne. And there is even a moment in the final episode where Batman has some big character development as well. It's essentially kind of a tease to, what do they call him, Batfleck, Ben Affleck's Batman, where he likes to kill people. They kind of do a tease to that, but then they do something completely different. And like I said, it just makes for some great Batman moments. There is a shot at the end of this season that completely wraps this thing with a perfect little bow around it. It's a fun ass Batman season, and I think you guys should check it out, because I don't think they're gonna make a season 2 if nobody's watching this thing. I have not heard anybody say not a lot of people say some stuff about this show. But the stuff I have seen is only criticism, so it seems like anybody just wants to hate. But this is a damn good series. Check it out. Let me know if you have seen it. What did you think about it? Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and so much more. Look, this is your guy in the chair. Thank you guys so much for watching. And more content coming to you soon.